Next, we will look at dynamic sectioning. So to access dynamic sectioning, we have this command. We can find this command in both part workbench and in shape design workbench. So right now I'm in part workbench and here is the command. So when I click this command and when I turn it on, I can actually go and select on any of the curves, and the moment I select it, I can get a parallel section cut at that particular point. And why do we need dynamic sectioning? It is like when designing or when reviewing a part, a global view is sometimes not enough. So the dynamic sectioning allows us to visualize the part by section at a specific position, like what we are doing. And it also help us to identify the potential defects, like during sectioning we can see like if the gap is proper or not throughout, or we can move this curve and we can see at this section which is a heat stick, and we can check whether it is properly the section is proper or not, if it is coming in contact or not. So whatever we are going to perceive with dynamic sectioning in 3D, similar results are we are going to do when we have actual physical part. But when we do have actual physical part, we need to cut and open the part to see like what is actually happening there. Okay, but in virtually, yes, we can identify the risk before pushing this part for manufacturing. Okay, so that is the reason why we use dynamic sectioning. So this is one way, like I am using the dynamic section command within the part workbench. Apart from that, apart from that, uh, we do have option of dynamic sectioning in assembly workbench. So right now I have opened this same part in assembly workbench. So this is how the assembly workbench looks like. So in this we have this command here. It is called sectioning. This is also it is like similar, but there are more options. So the moment I click on it, it it makes a separate window like this. So I don't need this part. I can minimize it. After minimizing it, I can go to window and I can select here tiles vertical, and now on one side I can see the section, and on the other side I can see like through where we are moving this section. Okay, now here you can see this section is inverted, so we can actually right click and you can flip vertically. Now how this section is, it is the same way what we are looking here in this left window. And if we want to see a cut section, because here it is showing the whole part, we can turn on here the volume cut, so it will cut it, and it now it looks like similar what we were looking earlier in part workbench. So this is one benefit of it. Also, the other thing is like here it is showing a solid section. Instead what we can do is we can, this is positioning. If we want to change the orientation of this section, for that purpose it is used. Next we go to results. In results we can turn this off, which is section fill. The moment I turn it off, now I can see a line section, and now I can do my measurements more properly. So I can measure, I can use this command and I can measure distance between these parts. Let's turn off this one, and now let's try measuring something. I select this and I select this, so it is almost 2.5. So like this we can analyze the whole section. We do have more options in this sectioning definition. So apart from results, there is another useful option, which is this one. We can click on this drop down and we can do export. We can export this section into another CAT part file, and we can also export it to an existing part, or we can directly export it to a drawing. So the best thing and the most useful thing that we do is we export and open. So we are going to export this section in a part file. We click OK. So now this new part file is open, and what we can do is, because what Catia will do, it will create these sections using sketches. So we can directly go to these sketches and we can do some editing. Okay, so this is how these sections has appeared. Okay, so don't worry about these too many dots. We can refine it using sketch. Okay, and like we can do any editing. Say we want this uh, we want more ribs like this here. So what we can do is, if we need to first do this. We need to isolate these polylines. We click explode. We do the same. If there is any other polyline, we can delete this one. Okay, it was some other polyline, so let's explode this one also. Okay, now we can see it. And once this is done, now we can do some editing individually. I can delete this one, and after that I can have something of my own here. So yes, now we added another rib in this place. So this is the benefit of dynamic sectioning when we are working it in assembly workbench. And we can save it separately in this part file itself. And let's go back to the assembly workbench. Okay, so you can see that uh, this is the part file itself. We minimize it. Now this is the product file. And the other thing is, like, suppose we want to save this section and we want to refer it later for some reason, we can simply click OK, and Katia will add that section here in the specification tree in assembly workbench itself. So it will also highlight the same section in the 3D, but we can anytime go and double click on it, and it will open the same definitions. We can view it in more detail by going to window and doing a align vertical. We can turn it off. So this is clear cut view of this section. So this is the benefit of using dynamic sectioning.